Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Amrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Tomo Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Toma Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrit Yoma Amritam Gamaya.
Hello, hello. It is Tuesday night, and it is time for me to sit in front of my video camera and see what my soul has to say. So thank you, Alicia Mathewson, for the beautiful sacred chant that always guides us into this space together. If you're not familiar with the chant, it is ancient and beautiful and powerful. And it says, from untruth, lead me into truth. From darkness, lead me into light. And from death, lead me to immortality. Perfect, absolutely perfect way to frame the foundation, the structure of what we share here in this space. So, so what we are going to discuss today, it's so interesting because when I first realized, like, we're going to talk about my guides, I'm like, no, we're not. No, we're not going to talk about that thing. Like, that's mine. I don't need to share that. And it just keeps coming up over and over in my meditation time. And when I was sitting chanting with my eyes closed, I could just feel my guides coming and standing around energetically. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about how we communicate with our guides, how we discern the vibration, the energetic signatures or feelings that individual energies bring into our daily activity. And so the only way I know of to describe that is to describe my own experience with it and trust that it will open up or allow a resonance that lets you tune into what your connection to your spiritual guides might feel like. Yeah, just that. And I always try to look for a bridge or a way to communicate something so that there's a language that is common, because so much of what we describe when we're talking about our spiritual experiences, our soul's conversations, it's so interpreted through our own filters. And so what I share with you, you're interpreting through your filter, and there's so many opportunities for disconnection or misinterpretation, because my filters and your filters are very different, and everyone else's are different than ours. And so when we're sharing these internal sorts of experiences, and they're coming through our filter, through your filter, and then, it's like the telephone game when someone then shares it with someone else and someone else and someone else. By the time the 50th person away hears it, it's nowhere near the experience that the first individual started with. And so I simply surrender to that. It is a flow of energy, a flow of truth, a flow of my truth. And as I share my truth, then you receive it, and it lands or it doesn't, and from there it goes where it goes. So as I was feeling into, like, what would a bridge be? What would an example be that you could really put your understanding around, if spiritual guides is a new topic or something that perhaps you haven't trusted your own connection to before. And so there's a movie, you're getting an assignment if you want. There's a movie that, for my filter, was profoundly beautiful in really characterizing or explaining or visualizing the way that energy and spirituality and guides mix with the human physical experience. I just watched it. It was just a few weeks ago. It's an older movie, a couple of years old, I think. And my parents, my favorite, most amazing, wonderful adults, my parents had watched it, and then my mom suggested that I watch it. And so I put it on when a good friend of mine was in town, and it's called August Rush. I don't know if you've seen it before, but if you haven't, this is a must-see on Viv's movie review list. It was absolutely incredible. So for me, music is it's a language. It's a way for emotion to be translated into something physical. So books, is another language for me. The written word conveys all these images and stories and histories and beliefs, and so you receive information and truth through the written word. And music is the same. You receive it through audio, through the sound, the vibration in your ears, right? Your throat chakra, this whole region here. For some people, it's art. Art does that sometimes, but much more music for me. And for others, it's nature, being outside in nature, and that often is an activation also. But what I loved about August Rush is it combined music with nature and physical with spiritual. So, quick storyline. This beautiful young boy is put in an orphanage, and he's told that his parents didn't want him, and he never believes it. He always has this, like he gets into trouble with the other children because he just won't back down. Like he knows that his parents are out there. He knows that they're looking for him, and they just haven't been able to find him. And so he just has this like truth that's so solid in his body. And he's, his parents are both musicians, and he is, like his being vibrates from sound. He hears and understands music in this, prodigy type of way. And so the whole story is about how he follows the sounds, he follows the music, and the music is inside of him. And so he hears it expressed in nature. He hears it expressed in the sounds of the cars on the road, or the traffic, or the people in a city. He hears music and sound, and they create these symphonies, these harmonies. And he expresses that by writing music and then having musicians play and recreate that same harmony that he heard in the streets or he heard outside. But he expresses so powerfully how vibration, resonance can move through him and out and be expressed. And so he's guided by vibration. And he trusts the vibration that he receives. So when he is composing or directing music, he's feeling all of those vibrations moving through him, and then he's guiding musicians in how to express it. You have to see the movie. I hope I portrayed a little of how incredible the movie is. It's just absolutely beautiful. So when I was feeling, how do we create a way to understand resonance or vibration? Because that's what spiritual guides are. They're individual energies that are moving around our energy. And as we learn to discern, like, that's the trumpet, that's the drum, that's the piano, that's the cymbals, right? That's the violin, that's the cello. As we learn to decipher the different instruments, the different vibrations that are interacting with our energy field, our music, whatever ours is, we start to create a harmony, create our own symphony, create this weaving of all of these different vibrations. And then miracles unfold. I I can only speak for myself. As I have learned to discern the individual vibrations of energy that are moving around me, I can interpret what that vibration is wanting me to understand or sense or feel in that exact moment. So this is where people say they're guided, or they receive messages or downloads, or I like to use the word winks, like you receive winks from the universe, or nudges to go this way or that way. As I discern more and more the differences in the instruments, in the harmony that is being created, more can form, right? New harmonies can be created, new symphonies can be created, because you're starting to understand how they all work. And so you can create something even different or more or new than what was there before. Okay. So the very first thing that has to happen if I'm giving you a guidebook, a plan of how to understand what your symphony is that you can create, how you can be your strongest resonance or vibration, and then create these energetic dances or plays. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like in football or something, right, with sports. I'm trying to find another bridge, but in sports, you know, the coach is able to see how all the players, if they're in the right position, can make some miraculous run all the way down the field and get the touchdown. And so something amazing will happen. It's the same. It's all the same. It's just different interpretations of it, different ways that we play with it, different ways that we manifest it. So, first step, the most important step of all of it is the clearer that, I'll speak only for myself and then you can interpret from there. The clearer that my channel is, the more I understand what my instrument, my music note is, my vibration is, then I'm able to untangle and unweave from all the vibrations that are around me. So when I was younger, and really we're talking up until just probably just a couple of years ago, when I was way younger and then into my early 40s, I was very enmeshed with my vibration and other people's vibration. So it was hard for me to discern or to feel, who am I? And then what is all this other stuff that's happening inside of my space and in my daily activity? And, you know, I would absorb a lot for so many people around me. And I believe many empathic people do this. At some point, I believe we all do this. But when you're absorbing for everyone around you, it gets very cloudy and messy inside of your energy field. And so it's hard to know, right? Like, is this mine? Is this somebody else's? And when your own field is foggy or cloudy or noisy, then anything new coming in is just adding more noise. And so we don't always trust when we hear those messages. Like, I get lots of messages from all the people I'm with all day. So when this new energy comes in that might be some spiritual guide or some universal wisdom, I can't receive it because there's so much already here. So the first step always is do the individual work, do my own clearing, right? Clear my junk, clear my stories, clear the energies that are normally in my space, and, you know, make room so that my channel is really clear. It's like on a radio when you're trying to find that perfect, again, this is olden days. I think now we just push a button. But when I was growing up, you'd have to really tune the button to make sure you got right to the radio station that was the exact number you wanted without all the static in the way. Because when the static is there, you can't hear the music and it's not as good. And it's like that. It's like that for our ability to interpret, our ability to understand energies that are coming into our space. So doing our own work first. Number one, you're going to have much more fun feeling guides and information from, I'm just going to keep saying universal, from universal wisdom, universal knowledge, from consciousness that is always expanding. That is available to us, and it's easier to understand when our individual space is clear. So, like I preach all the time, meditation does that. Yoga, breath work, body work, being in nature. You know, there's so many ways that we can become more comfortable being in our own skin and feeling our own emotions and knowing what's ours and then clearing out what isn't. You know, for many of us, you know, that deeper work, sometimes it only begins in our 30s or 40s. It's a while. We prefer keeping the cover of our heads for a long time. And then suddenly it's like, you got to do the work. You know, you got to do the work. And when you can excavate all the junk, move it out, get rid of it once and for all, and you understand what your purity of your channel feels like, you don't go back. You don't go back into the gunk, because you understand how good it feels to be this clear understanding of your soul and your human experience. You don't want to go back into the old stories and the old patterns, and it's much easier to keep your awareness as you're engaging with people and not take on their stuff, and not for me, it was always about trying to fix and save everybody else. I believed that I couldn't be happy if everyone around me wasn't also happy. So I would do anything to try to make sure all the people around me were happy and that everybody was doing well, and I couldn't do well until they were doing well. And I realized how it doesn't work. That doesn't work, because you'll never ever get everyone happy. It just doesn't. I don't want to limit. Perhaps it's possible. I believe it is. It is a possibility as people do their own individual work. But one person is not able to fix the world, or to fix even one community. One person can simply fix oneself. And from there, there are more and more examples of each of us being whole and complete and satisfied and joyous and clear. And then everyone around us has those examples that they can mirror. They can do their own healing, their own work. All right, first, do your own clearing. Do your own tuning into what your resonance, your vibration feels like. So when you sit in meditation, feel your energy field. Understand what that feels like. And if all of that language is new to you, look on my YouTube channel. There's tons of meditations that will guide you to feeling that, to understanding what your individual resonance is. As you get better and better at that, you have a baseline that you can go to. So every time you're in meditation, you can not like you're working towards it, but you can feel, as you're clearing things that come up every day, because that's life. As you clear the stuff out of the way, you'll know when you hit that place of peace, of calm, of steadiness inside. When you do that, when you're in that peaceful zone, that's when your guides are the most clearly able to be heard. And so you sit. Let me not tell you what to do. I sit and I listen and I discern. And the more I do that, the more I can understand I can feel the differences in the energies that are around me. The beautiful example of this is in August Rush, the movie. It's right at the beginning. There's a moment where he's in a field and he has his hands and he's like doing this, and as he's doing that, you can see the waves of the field moving, watching what his hands are doing, right? There's this, it's an incredible scene. I really am amazed at how they captured that in film, because it's so gentle and so simple. It's like that when I'm quiet, when I sit in that really peaceful space, I can sense presence. How would I describe it? Some people say they get like chills on their arms when they have an experience of kind of moving through dimensions, or having somebody, like you get a shiver on your spine when somebody says a truth that is so zap spot on, right? Or when you see a psychic, or you talk to someone who's interpreting energy and they just touch the point of the energy. There's that, as I sit in meditation, I can feel differences around me as an energy is becoming more communicative, or sharing. I knew this would be hard. Let's see how to do this more clearly. it's also about trust. It's very much about trust. So as I say to you, I can't convince you about any of this. I can't make you believe what I know to be true. So the only way that you're going to be able to have your own experience of it is to sit and have your own experience of it. I'm hoping that by me sharing it, there's a pathway or there's a bridge for you. So when you sit in that quiet space, maybe a nugget or two that I shared will guide you. Or when you feel something, because you're actually clear and sitting still, when you feel something, you're not afraid, or you're more open to whatever the messages might be that are wanting to come through. But everyone has to have their own experience of it. It will never match what somebody else describes exactly. So I'm sharing what my experience is because I trust what mine are. I trust 100% what is happening in my daily life and in my spiritual experience of life. And so I can share that, and then the interpretation and the application is really going to be your journey. Okay, that feels better. Like I can't convince you or make you believe anything, so I'm just going to share my experience. So for me, when I never really believed in guides. Like growing up, I didn't go to church, and when I went to church in middle school and high school, it was a Baptist church, and so it was very much about Jesus Christ and God, and that's it. Like, there may be angels, but there's no guides, there's no energy. We didn't talk about things like that. And then I was a young mom and, working in corporate nonprofit. Like I never had time for spirituality and for energy and meditation. Like meditation, I didn't even know what meditation was. Walking outside in nature was like a gift because my kids would stop yelling, or I was so disconnected from that whole experience, that whole other way of being alive. And what I know now is that's to provide contrast. When you're asleep for so long and then you start to wake up, you realize how you really didn't want to be asleep. You're never going back to being asleep. Like it's way more fun to be aware and awake than it was to be asleep. But you can't know that. You can't realize that and appreciate and value that unless you've been asleep. So, gosh, I don't even know, 40 years of my life, I had a great time. I was loving everything going on, but I certainly was not consciously aware or connected to my soul in a way that was alive and active in my life. So when I first started waking up, those experiences came through death. So I lost people around me who I deeply cared for, and that loss activates an exploration. Like, what does death mean, and where really are my friends going to? Like, do I believe in heaven or hell? What does this mean, and how can I communicate or connect with them? And so dreams were the first way that I started to understand energy moving through time and space. My dreams would be so alive, so crisp. I could remember exactly what was happening, and I would wake up feeling so full of love, so full of calm. Like, I know they're okay. I know they're okay. And so the acceptance and the peace is what started to develop my trust. It was such an emotional feeling of joy, of good, of calm. And that is what started building my trust. So when, I guess it would have been, there were 2 deaths pretty close in a row, a couple of years apart, and they were both very shocking to me, very sudden, and people I had immense love and respect for, and young people. So when that happened the second time, I would start to feel the presence of those energies, but I would recognize them as the individuals I knew in the human life. So I'm an energy healer, an energy coach, and so in energy sessions, I would feel the love of those individuals in such a real, way. It was almost like that person was sitting next to me while I was doing this coaching session, and I couldn't deny it. It was so clear. It was like I could hear the voice in my head saying things, and it was comforting, and it was also a little confusing, like, but you're not here in the physical. How can I trust or believe that you're always going to be around in the spiritual? Is this just a pop in, pop out thing? Is it like my dreams? Every once in a couple of years, maybe I'll feel some connection with this person, this energy that I've loved. And it just consistently, these individuals kept showing up. And I was like, I guess they're going to stay. And what does that mean? And as I trusted, as I would ask in meditation, like, show me who you are beyond this human I knew in this lifetime. Because if you have died in this physical form and now you're in this expanded energy form, I know you're not just here with me, you're with the other people you loved. You're maybe in other places. So show me how much bigger you are than the human I have you boxed into, right? I believe you to just be this one human version. Show me all of who you are. And when I asked those questions, there's a richer love, an expanded guidance and support that comes in through that energy. So those two individuals who passed, when I was asking those questions and feeling how much bigger they were, I feel them as angels. I mean, I would call them angels, literally right behind my shoulders all the time, one over here and one over here, always. And when I do any healing work, I call in these angelic feelings, vibrations, energies, and I ask for their support. I ask for their healing to enter whatever energy coaching I'm about to do, or whatever meditation I'm about to start. And that purity of love is this strong vibration, strong field of energy that's just right at my back, just solid, solid. And so there, as I described, like how you discern who your guides are, I wouldn't even name them because they're not those names. They are bigger, energetic beings than just one human incarnation, right? And that's what I model here on these Tuesday calls. I am sitting here in this human body that is known as Vivian, and there is the soul inside of me who has been many bodies, many lifetimes, many experiences. And all of that comes into this DNA, this cellular memory that is me, into the stories that I share, into the intuition that guides me, into my spiritual connection. All of those other human experiences inform who I am as the soul in the human right now that is seen in this moment as Vivian Gerard. And that understanding of how expansive we actually are, like, that's my passion, that's my purpose, that's what I love to help people discover and remember. When we limit ourselves and think we're just this one tiny, 8 to 5 job, Monday through Friday, working our way through our lives until we can retire and then die, we miss the whole magic and mystery of what this soul human experience is. As I have cleared out the stories and the old ways, and I have really been able to tune into who I am and then connect to these energies around me, this is how universal information comes in. This is how, I was just reading a little clip in the Gene Keys, and he was saying this is how Mozart would download his music. he tapped into classical music of a certain time period. And so he would literally write the scores because he was channeling musicians who had already created before him, right? He had his 2 or 10 or 20, guides that would stand right here, and he would probably, I'm guessing, close his eyes and just start writing. And this is what August Rush was showing. He was this young teenage child, and he would stand and close his eyes and feel all that was coming towards him, and then just interpret it. He would scribble it all over pieces of paper, and then all of these new scores were created. So that's where you can go with it. But where you can begin, if this is all new to you, is where I began. Just feeling the connection to someone who has passed that you love, and asking for their comfort and their support around you. And then asking, like, show me more of who you are beyond just this one human experience. Maybe you have known them in other times, and all of those memories are able to come through. So I have these 2 that stand right here that are angels. The next one that showed up, I'm just trying to remember the order in which I was becoming aware of my guides, and it came very quickly. This has all just been in the last, I'd say, 2 to 3 years. It's been very fast. And that's because my trust in myself has been increasing and steadying and grounding. And the more I trust myself, the more I trust how I am interpreting what I'm feeling around me. So the next one that showed up was through recordings. I was starting to feel this urge to write a book, and I never thought that I would write a book. I love reading books, but I never thought I'd write a book. And so I was in meditation, like I was just told by myself, like my soul would say, turn on the phone and just hit record and just trust whatever you're going to say. Like just let energy flow out, because I know the flow of energy. Just let it flow out through your voice. And so I would just record into my phone. And I would be saying things into my phone. I was like, wow, I didn't know I knew that. Like, that's really profound. That's so beautiful. Who knew that that was even what I believed to be true, and how amazing. I was constantly like in awe at what I was saying, right? That's the flow of pure consciousness, when you're in awe at what's coming through you, because it's so much bigger than anything you could have come up with on your own with your mind, right? Your mind is trying to logically like make everything make sense. When you just surrender and all of this wisdom flows through, it's effortless, it's easy, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And so I was just recording these things into my phone. And at one point I remember specifically saying, like, who is helping me with this? How is this information coming through me? Someone is doing this with me and I don't understand. Like, where is this coming from? And no kidding, like, this is my truth. So it doesn't have to land with you, and it doesn't matter because it's my truth. I literally could feel like Wayne Dyer is just channeling through me. And I hadn't read any Wayne Dyer books. I'd read a lot of self-help, never any of Wayne Dyer's, which is probably why he was speaking through me. He's like, brat, he didn't even read any of my books. But I have several people who I adore who love Wayne Dyer, are fanatics about everything he's ever written or created. And so, and he's transitioned, in case you aren't familiar with who he is. And so as I was recording all this, I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Really? Because I don't know why Wayne Dyer would want to talk to me. I've never written a book before. Like, I'm the last person he should be talking to. But I just kept trusting. That's all you can do, right? I just kept trusting. And I would just record and record. And in 1 month, I had the whole book recorded, all the audios, everything. I mean, the exact words that are written in my book are straight from the audios, word for word. And so I finished recording it, and I didn't quite know what to do from there. So I've got an audiobook. I don't know who's going to want to listen to that. And so I took the book and my friend had given me one of Wayne Dyer's books, and so I opened the book. I'm like, I guess I should read how he writes his books since he's written this one. And so I started reading through the book. I'm like, oh, it's heavy. I don't know that I quite understand everything that he's saying. Like, mine was really clear. It was super easy language. Like, I understand mine. I don't know that I quite understand all that he shares in his. But I love the flow, the way he laid out the book, the way that the chapters were organized. And so I sat in front of my computer and I had the book, literally his book, sitting on the left of where my laptop was. I parked myself at my dining room table for a few months and transcribed, and then started editing and, putting this book together. And I kept referring to his book to see, like, what do I like or not like about it? How can I incorporate some of the elements, the structural things that he uses to make it easy for the reader to understand? Like, how can I weave that into the beautiful words that have been shared with me? And so the book was written in a very short amount of time. I started recording it in, I think it was October, November. It was November, because I did it right up through Christmas. And then the book was published in April, self-published in April. And then I found out later he self-published and self-promoted all of his books. Like, so much of his early journey is exactly what I was experiencing, which is, how do you promote a book? I don't know how to do this. The steadiness, he stands on my left. I shouldn't say he, that limits him to that one human incarnation. Wayne Dyer's energy and my interpretation, which is all I can speak for. I'm not related to him. I've never met him in physical form in this lifetime. So all I can share is my interpretation of his energy. And he is old and wise as a soul, immense capacity, huge energy field and love. And so I believe he could be working with every single human on this planet right now. At the same time, like, his energy field is absolutely pure and incredible. And so I feel him when I sit in meditation, when I'm asking for guidance on my work and my next steps. I feel him just sitting solidly on my left. Trust your intuition. Everything on the left side of the body is about intuition and being and receiving and allowing. And so I know I understand my interpretation of his energy field. And so it's very easy for me to receive specific messages from him, specific guided words or action steps of what to do and, how to move next. And I'm hoping as I share this that it shows you how accessible he is for anyone who wants to tune in. He's not mine or anybody else's. He's an energy, a soul, a force field that is accessible for anyone to receive support. And that's a different thing than saying he's God, because some people would say, well, are you implying that these energies, these vibrations around you are God? I'm very clear that God energy is source energy to me. And source energy has an absolutely unique vibration that I never misinterpret, that is absolutely personal to me and personal to every person. They have their own interpretation of that. I'm not even going to try and describe what my connection to source is in this moment, because I don't even know if I would have words to be able to do that. The energy, the soul, the infinite being that came into this experience of life as Wayne Dyer has a vibration and resonance that I have interpreted, and I feel that energy on my left. On my right, as I was writing the book, I was receiving all of this information about the origin of my soul, how my soul came into being, and what my soul's purpose, my blueprint, has been through all of my human experiences, all of my human incarnations. And you have to read the opening page in my book, or maybe someday I'll read it out loud here on Soul Stories. There's a creative energy that birthed my soul and the tribe of souls that I believe I know I travel with. And that energy, that creative being, to me, the vibration, the name of that being is Ong Namo. And I write about that in the opening of my book. That there's an original source energy, and from that original source or God were created these leaders, these first round of souls, and Ong Namo is one of that first round of birthed souls. And then from there, other tribes, other groupings of souls were created. So Ong Namo is like my soul guide, my the soul that I would look to as, am I expanding? Am I evolving as a soul, right? Ong Namo sits firmly on my right as a very solid accountability measurement partner. And so I am constantly feeling, I feel my way in my work, and I measure myself against, what is expected of me, what is my purpose, my blueprint for being here, and how am I fulfilling that? Am I doing what I came here to do in this lifetime? And I get very clear answers from this energy I call Ong Namo. It's like my in-between. So source, my in-between, very close to source, and then me, this soul in this human body known as Vivian. Oh, this takes a while, doesn't it, to explain, and I'm trusting that there's some matches or guidance for you. Gaia, earth energy, is always a force field, a presence I feel underneath my feet, a steadiness. The human experience could not happen if we didn't have a planet on which to be in a human body. If we didn't have a physical earth to walk around on, the human body wouldn't exist. We would just be souls floating in space. So Gaia, earth, is a guide for every human who walks around on this planet. And I know I say this all the time, but so many people just disregard that. We just disregard that there is this constant love sitting at our feet that wants to support us. And, if we would just be still in meditation, especially on my Sunday calls, in meditation, I sit and I feel through my feet. I think I've talked about it on one of these calls before. I feel through my feet what is happening energetically, spiritually in our planet. What are the rumblings? I remember talking about this because I talked about Circle of Life, Lion King, and how there was that rumbling of all the animals and the earth was shaking. There's a vibration that comes through our feet when we choose to tune in with our planet. And so it's just remembering that and allowing that. So Gaia, earth, is a guide for me, for sure, at my feet. So source above, Gaia below, Ong Namo, Gaia often showing up, and then my two angels behind me. And then there are moments where I'll be in a meditation or at a retreat or with a community of people or laying in the sunshine, and I won't say you, I have these moments of awareness that there is some new vibration or new energy that is around me that I'm not familiar with. And because I'm aware of what's my normal baseline state, what I currently most days function in, when something new shifts, I feel it very quickly, and then I can ask, for information or trust. It's about trust. I can't convince you. Anyone who's ever had those moments where someone you loved who's no longer with you was just right by you. When you have that knowing, nobody can ever take that from you. That connection that moves through time and space, it's love. It's pure love. And so celebrate it. Ask for more of it. You know, as I have trusted the guidance I get and acknowledged, like, okay, I have a really cool team, right? I have some pretty awesome energies that are walking with me in this lifetime. Are there more? Because there's always more. There's always more. And as you ask, you know, more will show up. And then it's just this fun experience of discerning, like, who is this energy? What do they represent? What does that even mean? You know, what do I learn? Why is that energy showing up in my space? And what is it here to teach me? For me, often it's connected to music and reading because those are my passions. So, you know, authors, like sometimes I dream about different famous people, and it's not that I'm trying to grab them because they're famous. It's they have such a clear signature, such a clear vibration that they hold, that it's easy to understand that that's who it is, right? And yeah, I don't know if I have a better description than that. And so then it's just being curious, like, why are they showing up now? What do they want me to understand? I have this book I'm working on about autism, and I had a dream, I don't even know, 3-4 weeks ago. I had a dream about this little child. It was such a clear dream. I woke up and I remembered every single aspect of it, and I was just laying there like, what does this mean? But there was this little child, and I was holding the child, and I knew there was something special about her, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And I remember turning in the dream to whoever was sitting by me or talking to me, and very clearly I was like, oh, this is her name, and I'm taking care of her, and she has autism. And when I woke up, I remembered all of that. And so maybe, you know, the interpretation could be, well, you're working on a book about autism, so of course that's what you're going to dream about. But it didn't feel like that. It felt like the reverse, like the dream is trying to inform something about the book. And so when I was in my meditation, I often will just sit at the end of my meditation with just some quiet time, and sometimes my pen, I'll just start writing things down, and you know, later I'll read the words and I don't remember exactly how I said it, but as I read it, I'm like, wow, that is wisdom for me. And that next morning in my meditation, I could feel the same energy of the little child in the dream. And so I was just writing, like, you know, why are you here? What is this? What is happening? And it was just this beautiful message about, you know, the children are going to teach you through the book. And so I'm here to help you understand what the children need and what you need to learn from the children. Like, I'm an energetic bridge of communication, which I took as so you don't make an idiot of yourself, Viv, or so you don't do something stupid, or, you know, so you don't get too confident or cocky and think that you know what's going on when you have no idea. And so that's a beautiful way for our guides to guide us, our guides to support us, you know, as we're trying new things here in this lifetime. It's so much more fun, and it's so much lighter, so much more liberating to be able to experiment and play with things when you're accessing old information or mistakes, you know, that others have made, so that you don't have to make the same mistake. And when I've done my own clearing and I'm tuning in to the support around me, I can take these shortcuts. I don't have to go through all the mistakes that others have already tried and done. Like Wayne Dyer with the book, you know, he did all of the work to find, let me rephrase that. So much of his life's work was about expanding consciousness, about teaching people empowerment, about teaching people about love. And so I know what I share in this book is just an expansion of what he had already brought forward into consciousness, what he had already brought forward into the self-help, self-development journey for people. So it builds upon what's already there. A great example of this is Cooks Illustrated. I don't know if you have ever tried any of their recipes, but oh my gosh, they're amazing. My friends follow a lot of their recipes, and so they introduced me to this group a long time ago. And basically, in this test kitchen, they test a certain recipe over and over and over and over again, finding all the things that they do wrong, and then weeding out what's wrong until they can figure out what's right. So when they publish a recipe, there's this description of all the things they tried, how terrible it was, how it didn't work, and then the one perfect recipe, the perfect way to make that meal. It's a shortcut. So I don't have to waste my time on screwing up and trying things, and some people love to screw up and try things. Some people are chefs and they want to experiment. Me, give me the recipe for the food that I know is going to be delicious. I'll follow it to the book and I'll present you with a delicious meal, and it'll save me all the hassle of getting it wrong and throwing stuff away. I feel like that's one way to experience life, right? Take the shortcuts. Learn from what others have already done. Expand upon what these beautiful foundations already are. I don't need to rewrite a book that says all the things that the most incredibly talented Wayne Dyer has already said. Why would I want to redo that? It already exists. I want to create something new, right? The creation of new is just pure magic. And so as you trust, as I trust that I've cleared my field, I'm certain in who I am, I have a deep and steady trust in my own energy, my own vibration, and in all the vibrations that are supporting me and walking with me. Then it's me and this team of energetic spiritual guides creating from the platform of all that's already been created. It's so much more efficient and effective, and can resonate with so many more people because the foundation is already there. Yeah. I feel like I've gone a long time. Was there anything else I would add about guides? I mean, just let it be fun. If you're going to play with this, let it be fun. You know, so much in life is so serious, and we have to follow so many rules and abide by so many expectations. You know, this connection with your own energy field and with the guides who are, I mean, people say this about angels, and I would expand that out and say there are many more guides than just angels. But call on your angels when you want support. How many times have you heard that, right? Call on your angels, they'll support you. I expand that. Call on your guides, call on new guides, call on guides you've never met before, and ask, learn to discern. Like, you know, if you're going to work on a certain project and you need to understand something, one way is go to Google and ask your guides. Ask for a guide who knows about what the thing is that you're going to be working on, and then sit in meditation. You might be amazed at how clear your answers are. And then you have a shortcut. You build upon what's already been created within humanity. Yeah, let it be fun. Let it be fun. And then share, you know, instead of all of us hiding. And so many spiritual, beautiful souls that I know are like, I talk to my guides, but we never talk about, like, who are the guides? How do they appear to them? What does it look and feel like? So I'm sharing, and, you know, I'd love to hear what your experience of your guides is too. That's my main team. There's always energies that are coming in and out that are beautiful. I guess I would be remiss if I didn't say, you know, absorbing energy from anyone else isn't the point of connecting with your guide. Let me speak for myself. I'm not here to absorb my guide's energy into my being. I'm here to be my own energy field, the soul that sits inside of me, and this body and this experience. And then I'm attuning to the vibrations of the guides around me. I'm not drawing them in, and I'm not sending my energy out. I'm just understanding the way that they coexist and support each other. So for all empaths, you don't need to bring every guide or energy that comes near you into your space. You simply practice holding your boundaries and then discerning the differences and allowing their information and guidance to help you, to support you. I think that's it. That feels like more than enough. Yeah. Thank you for letting me share all of that. That was fun to put into words. I feel like my team is satisfied. All right, I am going to share screen, and we're going to go to a song by Alicia Mathewson. This next song is called Freedom is an Inside Job, which is the perfect way to end this topic that we have explored today. So once again, thank you, Alicia, for allowing me to share your music.
'Cause I can feel a new wave coming after the storm. One by one, each heart finds its way to transform. Wake up and flow into this empowered sea. Wake up and remember who you were born to be, 'cause freedom is an inside job. Mandela talks well, yes, freedom is an inside job. We create heaven, we create hell. Freedom is an inside job. Martin Luther King talks right. Freedom is an inside job. It's only you that you find. 'Cause I can see so many people suffering in the dark, when all it takes is one thread to create a spark. So wake up and rise into this empowered flame. Wake up and remember the glory of why you came, 'cause freedom is an inside job. Thich Nhat Hanh talks well. Freedom is an inside job. Breath by breath, be still. Freedom is an inside job. Malala talks how freedom is an inside job. Wake up, the time is no matter if you're on your knees or soaring in mid-flight. The only way to see through the trees is to expand your sight. So wake up and flow into this empowered sea. Wake up and rise above all this duality, 'cause freedom Mandela taught us, well, yes, freedom is an inside job. We create heaven, we create hell. Freedom is an inside job. Malala showed us how. Freedom is an inside job. Wake up, our time is now. Freedom is an inside job. Martin Luther King showed us how. Freedom is an inside job. Wake up, our time is now.
So good. Thank you, Alicia Mathewson. All right. See where this takes us. I'm sending you so much love tonight.